So this movie answers the age-old question that has kept so many up for hours on end. Do vampires pay taxes? Just me? Bite Me is brought to us by director Meredith Edwards and stars Naomi McDougall-Jones and Tino Crowley-Kamenwati and Christian Coulson. When Sarah, a real-life vampire, gets audited, the last thing she expects is a date. But an unlikely spark with IRS agent James forces two misfits to confront whether they have the courage to commit the radical act of falling in love. So Bite Me is a rom-com about a real-life vampire and an IRS agent. Yeah. Now these vampires aren't vampires in the traditional sense. They are real-life vampires. They don't go around like attacking people and sucking their blood or like burn up in the sun or anything. These are the people that you've seen on like that show Taboo or something like that. They're people that do actually drink blood, but they don't attack people. Many of them, at least in the movie, say that this act makes them feel better and some ailments that they had in the past have gone away from doing this. Now I'm no expert, but I do know that this does exist out in the real world. There are people like this. However, their portrayal here is definitely heightened from real life. But so is the portrayal of everybody else in the movie as well. I'm sure there are some people that are a bit more in the know of this type of lifestyle out in the real world that would say, oh, this thing in the movie is stupid because that's not how it is, and yada yada yada, but it's a movie. It's a rom-com, okay? It's just kind of taking the basic framework and working it into this story. With all that being said, I gotta say that Bite Me was actually a pretty funny movie. I enjoyed this movie a lot more than I thought I was going to when I first turned it on. There's not really a lot to it. It is pretty much what the synopsis says. We have Sarah, who is a real-life vampire who gets audited by the IRS, and when she goes to her tax audit, she meets James, an IRS agent, and they fall in love. And then we have the conundrum that James is working her tax case and they are now dating, so that creates a conflict, so they have to keep it a secret, and you know how these things go. Now the basic story here is traditional rom-com fare. However, the people that inhabit this story, as you could guess, are a bit different from what we typically get with these types of movies. And that did provide a bit of fresh air for the genre. All the vampire characters are very heightened from what I imagine they are in real life, or at least to a degree. I've known some people that were similar to some of the people in this movie, so I say to a degree because there are definitely people out there that act like this in real life. Now it is a bit heightened and played for laughs a lot of the time, but you best believe that while some of the behaviors here seem a bit out there, no, there are people definitely out there that act just like that. I'm not saying that real life vampires, like out there in the real world, you know, out there with you people that are watching this video, act exactly like this. No, I know that this is a heightened situation, but there are definitely people out there that do these things and act as heightened as some of the people in this movie. Now while this is, as I said, a traditional rom-com, there is something about it that I really liked. It kind of looks at people that are outsiders within their own circles. Clearly, James's IRS agent doesn't quite fit in, at least at first, with this vampire emo crowd that they got going on. And on the flip side of that, Sarah's vampire doesn't fit in with what we think James's crowd would be. But the fact of the matter is that these two found something within each other anyway and fell in love. Now, the thing that I really liked about this dynamic was the vampire crowd that is kind of the outsiders are the ones constantly talking about, why won't society accept me? Why do people stare at me? Why won't people just let me be who I am? They're asking for people to be more accepting of their lifestyle, which, by the way, on a side note, I think that they're right. I mean, I don't give a shit what people do with their own lives as long as they're not hurting anybody. If people want to dress up however they want to dress up, do whatever, drink blood, as long as they're not like forcefully taking it from someone, I don't care. You do you, live your best life. But what's ironic here, and what the movie does a really good job at, is that the vampire crowd who is constantly talking about, please world, accept us for who we are, that is a core part of this film. When it comes to James dating Sarah, they constantly shun him and say he's not good enough. He's a mundane, which is like, you know, a normal person. He's not one of us. They constantly push him out of the crowd and won't accept him. I found that really ironic, and yes, I know the movie was going for that the crowd that is constantly clamoring for acceptance won't accept somebody. And that hypocrisy is a big part of the movie, and I'm happy that they did include it. That dynamic made this story all the more interesting. Now, there was never really really any doubt of how this movie was eventually going to end. This thing operates on the DNA template of a rom-com. We know exactly how this is going to all play out, but it's the characters that inhabit the world and how the situations play out that we're interested in. And even though I was never really surprised and the story didn't really break the rom-com mold, I did enjoy this movie. All the characters involved are very likable and enjoyable, and they're all done very well. The movie as a whole, from pretty much every angle, is done very well. I was very surprised at how well made this movie was. Something else that really worked here was the chemistry between Sarah and James. While everybody else is, as I've said quite a few times already in this review, pretty heightened, these two were the most down-to-earth characters in the movie, and whenever they were on screen together, you really felt it. They had a connection. This chemistry was great, and it absolutely sold the movie. Now, the comedy side of this romantic comedy I really enjoyed as well. Most of it's not like laugh-out-loud comedy, but it is all very enjoyable, and I had a smile on my face the vast majority of the runtime. It's actually quite a bit of that dry observational humor, and I really get into that. It's not gonna be for everybody, I admit, but those of you that do like that type of humor, there's quite a bit of it here, and I think you'll have a good time with it. I also like that the movie never felt like it was poking fun at the vampire crowd. While there was some of it that was played for laughs, and they are played very heightened and over the top, I felt like there was a reverence and respect there. I didn't feel like they were making fun, I thought they were all laughing along. Guys, Bite Me was an extremely enjoyable romantic comedy. It's full of fun, entertaining performances, the movie knows how to laugh at itself, and while it does follow the romantic comedy formula that we all know so well, it does it with flair, and it also does it really well. This movie was very well made and extremely enjoyable, and it is absolutely worth a rent.
All he wanted was, hey, this.
I have to return some videotape.
I really enjoyed this movie, and I think that if you're looking for a funny romantic comedy that puts a bit of an original spin on things, then Bite Me is just what you're looking for, and you'll have a pretty good time with it. So there it is, guys, my review of Bite Me. If you enjoyed and want more content like this, hit that subscribe button and help my little channel grow. If you want to help out the channel, check out my Patreon in the description below and become a jarhead and get some of the awesome benefits that go along with that, like these guys, and possibly join my top tier and become a bad motherfucker like my man Greg C and Dragon Khan. If you like video games or you just want to see this asshole prance around like a goddamn idiot, then check out my new gaming channel, Jag. Link in the description. Any support is appreciated. If you liked what I had to say, give me a like. If not, let me know in the comments below why. And as always, stay sexy, Transylvania.
I only just met you.
I know, I wasn't gonna say anything because I didn't want to sound like some lunatic stalker person. You know what, I don't care. I want to be your lunatic stalker person.
So there's this one part in the movie where all the characters get together and they go to this big vampire party. And while, yeah, they said that this was some big vampire's ball, honestly, this thing looked like it was just one titty away from a fucking S&M party. I mean, seriously, it was like leather, capes, chains, whips, and everything. Peel off a few layers and we're at eyes wide shut. And you know what? I'm okay with that.